Hi, and welcome back to our channel. This is the Calling Feather. This is Real Penguin. He is now back from his hiatus, his one video hiatus. This is Ami, and I'm Ren. I am one half of Calling Feather. So that means that I'm an artist and a storyteller, and Mitsu is also an artist and a storyteller. She's behind the camera. But yeah, welcome back to our channel. I realized that I never properly introduced myself, maybe except for the first video we ever uploaded, so it's probably been very confusing, but I digress. Today we wanted to talk about the topic of unplugging. And this was kind of spurred on by the fact that when Mitsu and I went to Japan last October, we spent pretty much our entire trip away from our phones. And we were pretty much just using our phones to message people like my cousin who we were staying with and navigate, finding places to eat, doing some Google Translate here and there, but that's pretty much it. We stayed off of social media, which was such a blessing. It was very nice. And when we got home, we kind of craved that feeling of being free again. So we kind of went into the planning of this video with those ideas in mind. But what really pushed me to be like, oh, we have to make this video is I watched CL's video about kind of ways to, I guess, I don't remember how they titled it, but they talked about the topic of decentralizing their phone. And I was like, oh my god, that is exactly what we're trying to do. And we had taken a lot of steps to do so, very small steps to decentralize our phones. And I'll explain a little bit about what that means in a second. But their video was very inspiring, and then it also got me to think about another video that I watched and I resonated with a lot. And that's Levi Hildebrandt's video about convenience and how convenience is kind of inhibiting a lot of the human experience and what that does as how that impacts people. So I really recommend that you watch both of these videos. I'll be referencing CL's video a bit. But yeah, back on topic. So what decentralizing your phone means is okay, say you have your phone. On your phone, you can text, you can email, you can open a calculator, you have a compass on it, you can listen to music. And I bring that up because that means that your phone is centralized. So your phone can do all of these different tasks. It's very convenient. And I think what the argument is and what some research has shown is that just because something is convenient doesn't mean that it necessarily makes your life better. It makes your life more convenient. It gets rid of a lot of friction, which is you having to go out of your way to do something. But that's not necessarily good for your health, mental health in the long run. So what CL was talking about with decentralizing your phone is, I'll probably go into this topic a bit more later, but it's the idea of taking the tasks that could be on your phone off of your phone. So I mentioned the calculator. Here's a calculator with very satisfying buttons. If you use your phone, you can open the calculator app, you can do whatever math you want to do on it, and then when you exit it, you can be like, oh, I can also scroll on Instagram. And then 3 hours of your day is gone. But with your calculator, you can I don't know, you can do some math. Oh shit. You can do some math and trigger a piece of Calling Feather lore. And then you can put it down, and yeah, I could get up right now, I could end the video, and I can go cook. That's kind of what decentralizing is. It's putting the calculator's job back on the calculator. And you just use your phone for phone things, calling and texting. And that's it. So now that you know what decentralizing is, I'm going to talk a bit about what we've been doing to try slowing down and decentralizing our phone, and also just, I guess, going towards something more analog. Because, I mean, in the end, our YouTube channel is aimed to be a stationery and art kind of focused YouTube channel. We're still like figuring out our identity and stuff on this platform, but I feel pretty optimistic about the stationery and art angle because they're a big part of our lives. And I guess like if anyone here is new to stationery or journaling, I guess we'll make that the first topic. So there is the approach of like you simply use your journal for writing only, which I think is great. I think that's a really useful way to use it. I actually started going back to morning pages a little bit recently. I had abandoned my morning pages book for a little while because we fell off of the artist's way. And like I said, I still have no idea if we're going back to it. I don't know. We're using all that time to actually be creative for now. But I had found a lot of value in morning pages. And I think like being able to have a safe space to just dump all your thoughts is very helpful. You can like disclose any of your own secrets in here. You can talk about like what bothers you and you don't have to show anyone. And I think that's great. What we mostly use journaling for is kind of making a physical mood board. There are a lot of different resources and websites to make a digital mood board. I know Pinterest is very popular, as well as Milanote. But personally, like, I've never really found them as inspiring. I don't know if that's the word. I just never latched onto the idea of a mood board when it was on like the computer. I'm not exactly sure why, because technically you have so much more access to different things, but I always found that a physical mood board was always easier for me to grasp and like latch onto and become attached to. So that's one of the main reasons we started making journal spreads, besides the fact that we originally used it for like tracking things, but I'll get into that later because that's a whole other topic. And I know that I think Mitsu and I kind of had this idea of like, oh, if we just want to try something out, then like where do we kind of start? Like, do you want to invest so much money into things that you may not like or use? So what I would like to advise is you start with junk journaling. So junk journaling is basically like you take the, I guess, packaging of things that you already buy on a regular basis, like say like food wrappers, like receipts that have like cute logos on it, business cards from people who give you business cards. Like you can use that to start with decorating your journals. If you have like access to like dollar stores or Daiso, like I would be very jealous if you had access to Daiso, then it's more, I guess, risk free, or it's like not as daunting as like you have to like think of your aesthetic or anything like that. The nice thing with junk journaling is that you kind of just use what you have and you kind of build your own, like, you build your own style with it. And of course you may outgrow that style eventually because it's like you're not always going to use food wrappers. I mean, some people do, but I know we eventually did outgrow like our old junk journaling aesthetic, but like any style, like any personal style or artistic style, it will grow with you. But I think it makes it a lot easier to start that style of journaling if that's something that you're into. And I'm always like someone who wants to make art accessible and fun. Oh, wait! Yes, Mitsu, thank you. I held this up a few times, and I have an update for you. So you know how I said in the previous video that this is the same size as the Himekuri sticky calendar? I'm a big fat liar. So these things are humongous. I don't know what it is. Maybe I misremembered how big the Himekuri stickies were, but they used to take up like a whole of this and like maybe like one row down. These are too high. So if you plan to do something like this, either do it in your Hobonichi A5 cousin or just collage like we're doing, because I mean, we're doing a 1 a week or 2 a week thing, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, I'm a big fat liar, I'm sorry. Another way you can use like kind of a journal is you can make a media log. So that's kind of like a diary, but it's dedicated to like how you feel about a piece of media that you consume or a piece of media that's important to you. CL actually mentions this in their video, and that actually inspired Mitsu to make her own media log. So this is her media log. There's only one entry in here so far, but one of her very close friends gifted her this book. And hey, it's Kiki, and it's Kiki's mother's house. So, kind of the idea with the media log is that you write how you feel about a piece of media, so it's like either while you're watching it or like a reflection. You could also like, I guess, write about your favorite characters or like something that inspires you about that piece of media. The way that she's using it right now is that there is a webtoon that she started rereading from the beginning because she really enjoyed the story, and she was like, oh, I kind of want to like refresh myself from the beginning because it's been such a long running series. And in this way, if she wants to like revisit her feelings about it, she can just open up the book and like reread her entries. And I think that's a great way for memory keeping and just like slowing down. This is, I guess, also a good in-between step of like consuming something and then writing something down in physical form, because like, yes, you are watching something or consuming something on your phone or the TV, I don't know, but you're still like engaging with it in an analog way, and I think that's very nice. The biggest shift last year that we made, that ended up becoming a huge section in our Techo Kaigi, is our switch to physical calendars. So I mentioned very briefly in the last video that we use our big calendar to track our menstrual cycles, and there's a little bit of backstory with that. So previously I had used an app for like 10 years. I had 10 years of history on that app. But after there was like that big data breach and like the whole selling of personal information that that had come to light, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. So we're going back to what our mothers and grandmothers did before us, and we are writing our menstrual cycles on our calendars. So for me, it's just a start, duration, end kind of thing, just so I have some predictability and I can track like how, if it's late or something. But on a physical calendar, what we do is we just like put a little mark in the corner and like that's it. I think it's more low-key, it's less stressful, it's not as in your face, but other than that, I just like the idea that we can put all of our appointments on a piece of paper that no one else will see. And I think just having the extra layer of privacy is nice. I never found like a digital calendar very helpful. I remember I used to have a lot of trouble remembering when my classes were and when my like exam dates were, unless I like told myself like out loud when it was. And just having the alerts on my phone was like anxiety inducing, and somehow the physical calendar doesn't do that to me. I think it's probably because it's not yelling at me all the time. But yeah, that's one reason we found physical calendars to be nice. We did at one point try to use like the Notion calendar because we use Notion, not sponsored. But I guess like it was kind of okay to be like, yeah, this is kind of when we have to leave, but somehow we remember things better when it's written down, but personal preference. Okay, let's talk more about the whole decentralization thing. This is more of the topic of items that have jobs that could be done on your phone, but we gave back to the objects that had those jobs. So I talked about the calculator. Use that for math. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, hopefully everyone budgets, so use your calculator for budgeting. Another thing that we like to use, not on the phone, is a kitchen timer or an oven timer. So our oven has a timer, and the nice thing about it is that it's very loud. But we did find a couple of cute kitchen timers in Japan that we ended up buying. It's themed with the Animal Crossing New Horizons, I guess, characters and stuff. By the way, I don't know when this will come out, but as of this day, there are, I think, 3 or 4 days until the new update. And we'll see if we end up playing it again, or if we end up just going back to Grand Bazaar, because I do miss Grand Bazaar. I've actually learned how to knit, so that's what I've been doing this winter. If anyone has any sweater patterns that they recommend for knitting, let me know, because I owe Mitsu a sweater. Anyway, another thing that we liked the idea of getting, because we're both really into physical media. So here's another thing that is just kind of off topic. I'm not really a big lover of digital books. I had a really difficult time getting into reading on like an e-reader and stuff. The only exception I ever made was for textbooks, because they're so much cheaper. But I will tell you, like, point blank, that it was much more difficult for me to retain information from like a digital copy of a book. So I'm a big fan of physical books. Here are just a couple of books that we've collected over the years. So like here's like an instructional book. This is by Eric Smallthings. I can't read Japanese, but I mean, I think the instructions are very clear. I can probably figure it out. This is for stamp carving, eraser stamp carving. This is something that we want to do this year. We have a long list of things that we would like to do this year, including stamp carving and other things that are to be announced, I guess. We have art books. So this is from Teraoka Natsumi. We have a lot of his artwork, as you know. And I really enjoy looking at this. I just find like physical art books so like satisfying to look through. I'm obviously not saying buy every single book that you want or think you need, because it would be very expensive and financially irresponsible for me to say that. I'm saying buy what you love. Like, be very intentional about what you want to keep in your home, because space is limited and so is like money. And then this is a book I got forever ago. So this is a book about like, it's a reference book. So in it are poses for sword fighting, because I wanted to learn how to, I guess, choreograph fight scenes. I haven't touched this book in several years, and I need to change that. So maybe look forward to some fight scenes this year. I don't know. So yeah, big fan of books. We did get 2 CDs while we were in Japan. One of them is Deco Nina's greatest hits from 2008 to 2012. We're big Vocaloid fans. We still keep up with Deco Nina's stuff, but a lot of our favorite songs are from the 2008 to 2012 era, when we were still in grade school. Not like small children, like we were teenagers, but yeah, this was very nostalgic. There's a funny story with this. I guess here's another Japan anecdote. We were in the Tower Records in Sendai, which was, I think, at the top of the Parco building. And we were there looking for any CD that we thought that we would be happy having. Because, like, for me, the thing is like, I have this fear that there will be a CD that I buy from someone that I like, but has all the songs that either I don't care for or that are just okay. And I was also kind of low-key looking for the Tales of the Abyss, like, just CD, but I could not find it, so, yeah. So, that was unfortunate. But we bought Deco's CD, which we found, like, last minute, because at first we found, I think, his most recent album, and then we were looking at the display, and it's like, oh, there's Android Girl, there's Ghost, and then we saw this one, and it's like, oh, it's like our first songs ever that we listened to from Deco Nina. I think her favorite Deco Nina song from this era is Mosaic Roll. And then mine is Coward Mont Blanc. So, yeah. We bought the CD and Otto's CD. And, like, that's it. These are the only 2 CDs we own, except for the one that came with the Grand Bazaar wrap-up, which we have in our car for if there are guests who don't want to listen to weeb music. Okay. Another just small tip for, I guess, unplugging a little bit, but we separate ourselves from our phones when we're in our office, just drawing or like working on like stuff with our stories or doing admin work and stuff. Or if we have to have our phones like nearby, like say like we're anticipating a call from someone, something that I like to use is Hank Green's Bean Friend app. This is also not sponsored, but I'm comfortable recommending his app because he doesn't have like any internal ads or anything running. It's completely free to use, and the way this app works is like, what it does is it just makes sure that you don't like start scrolling. So if you interrupt the bean, he'll like stop knitting because he drops his stitches and gets really sad. Now I know what that feels like, now that I've started knitting. If you drop a stitch in knitting, your life is over. So yeah, knitting has been an interesting experience. I have finished one project for my beloved, so yeah. That's something you can do too. So, yeah, well, where does that leave us with? We can't get rid of technology. We're kind of like, we're still kind of beholden to our phones because, I mean, we needed to contact people and things like that, but we can also take steps to better our own lives by, you know, stepping away from that kind of thing. We can decentralize our phones in different ways, and we can go back to touching paper if we can't touch grass. So, yeah, I really recommend that you watch CL's video. I think they have a lot of very good ideas, and I really want to co-opt things like their thought catalog. I thought was a very interesting idea, and I hope it takes off in like the greater community of creativity and stuff. I think it's such a good idea, just so that you have like a record of whatever you're thinking and things that you can revisit. So yeah, until then, I'm Ren, and these are my collection of friends, and we'll see you in the next video, and we'll see who shows up that time. Bye!